In this session, we will cover the cross-model mapping feature. In Present and Publish, users can map hierarchies and/or member elements from two different data models where they might have different naming conventions or even different member captions. This enables two content items that are querying different data models to interact with each other and with a filter in the dashboard. For interactions to work across data models, the hierarchies and member elements used as a filter must also exist in the data model of the target visualization. Without the cross-model mapping, a query error will be displayed, indicating that a unique name could not be found. The model mapping feature provides congruence to the query, telling Pyramid that the two differently labeled hierarchies are the same. To see the cross-model mapping feature in action, let's create a presentation. We'll first drag and drop a manufacturer's sales graph from Model 1 to the canvas. Then let's add a monthly returns graph that queries Model 2. Now let's add the date hierarchy from Model 1 as a slicer for the presentation. Note that the date hierarchy differs in its naming convention between the two models. In Model 1, the date hierarchy is called date, but in the second model, it's called date key. Now, when we run the presentation, an error is displayed showing us that the two models are out of sync. To rectify this, we will open the model mapping wizard from the presentation ribbon. Now we click the blue plus sign to create a new model mapping. Let's name the mapping and then we will select the two models. The order is not important. Now we will map the hierarchies, telling Pyramid to treat these two hierarchies as if they are the same. In this case, the underlying member elements in both data hierarchies have the same values and format, so we can use simple mapping to tell Pyramid that these names are one and the same. We will use the caption to define the member type. This uses the element's label. If we were to use the unique name, we will need to include the member element path for the hierarchies. There might exist other hierarchies in the two models, where the naming conventions or underlying data in hierarchies differs between the two models. If you don't want to map these hierarchies, select the Ignore Unmapped Hierarchies option, ensuring you won't receive an error when applying interactions between visuals from the mapped models. Now let's click Apply, and when we run the presentation, the error disappears and the slicer functions perfectly despite having a different name in Model 2, since we have mapped it to the date hierarchy in Model 1. This is a great solution if the member elements are the same in both models. But what if they have different values in the two models? For example, in the first model, the country might have the country name in full, and in the second model, the country can be an abbreviation. Here we see that Pyramid is unable to map the members from Model 1 to Model 2. This is where advanced model mapping is used to individually map the member elements. First, we will map the two models. Then we will map the year hierarchy from both models. And the country hierarchy. Now let's select the advanced mapping method. We will first configure the first model to map it to the second model, and then we will do the reverse by mapping the second model to the first model. Let's click the designer to open the full formula editor. Now let's enter the formula. We will use the target member and hierarchy unique name functions to return the country hierarchy within the customer dimension. Then we will add a square bracket to enclose the member. For almost all countries, the first three characters in the string will be used as an abbreviation. The only exceptions are the USA and the UK. We will use a case statement to handle these two exceptions. The case statement looks for a country name here, and if found, uses the abbreviation here. We can then use the left function to return the first three characters for all other countries and change the case to uppercase by using the toUpper function. And we will close off with a square bracket to enclose the member. Pyramid provides a testing function to select a member and preview the results generated from the expression. Let's choose Australia and click Test. It returns the first 3 characters in uppercase. And when we test United States, it returns USA. Next, we need to enable interactions from the second model to the first. The case statement here will have to cater for each abbreviation, providing the corresponding full name for each country. Once again, we'll test this expression by selecting abbreviations and previewing the resultant string. Now we will click Apply. And now when I interact from a slicer using the country from the first model, the calculation in the second model understands the abbreviated country that I have selected. And by clicking on a year from the second model, the cross-model mapping maps the country and the year that I'm referring to and filters accordingly.